All right, then. So now if I click this apps, that will take us to the admin apps. So let's open the admin apps. All right, so this is the place where we are going to have two different columns. One, the first column is the place where the admin can create a new app. And the right side where the admin can see the apps, what are the apps he being created, right? So what we are going to do is, so I'm just going to say class name. It's going to be, I need to make sure it's accessing the complete width. So width full. So once I add the width full, the text will lean out in the left side. So then I need to change this to grid, and the grid column, it's going to be, initially it's one, but from the large device onwards, the grid columns, it's going to be two different two different columns, right? So inside here, this is the left section and this is the right section. So the left section, the place where we are going to create a new admin app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new container over here and create a new folder called admin containers. So this container is going to hold the what is it, like new app dot jsx or a fce, say the changes. And now I need to export this new app container from the containers file. Where is the container folder? Yes, here it is, index.js. And here admin containers, export default as new app from dot slash admin slash new app, say the changes. And now let's bring it in the new app. So new app, which is coming from the container. Yes, it is. Save the changes. Now we have the new app, and in the right side, now we need to bring the list of apps dot jsx or a fce, save the changes. And we have to export the same stuff. Where it is, the containers folders, here it is, index, control C and control V, and this is going to be list of apps. Copy, save it. All right, so here we have to bring that list of apps, save the changes. All right, so now we have the two different columns. So basically what it's going to be, if it is a mobile screen, so it will be comes back to the normal screen. If it is a large screen, it's going to be in the two different columns over here. So now let's get to here, and this is going to have the complete width, which is available, width and flex column, item center, and justify it in the sorting location. So it should be on the top of there. Then over here, I need to add some paddings. So px it's going to be 2 and py it's going to be 3. Save changes. All right, so now inside this, instead of this new app, so I need to figure it out what are the fields that we need to bring it inside. What are the field, the data field. All right, so let's see. Over, I don't need this anymore, so let me close this. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Playstore or something, Playstore. So let's open up any popular applications from here. Like let's talk about the COC. Let's take the COC. Okay, so what are the fields that we do have? We have the title, we have the company information, who's the company owner, and the icon, and we have the ratings and total number of reviews, and we have the credits, how many downloads so far, and then some other informations, right? So let's keep these informations, and at last what we have, the app is now so this information is for, this is common. So, and we do have the different banners informations, right? We do have different banners informations, and we do have this, the rest of the informations over here, right? Let's keep it as this is as a short description, right? Let's keep this as a short description, and of course the reviews also, right? So for the time being, so we can add the reviews later. So all we have to right now worry about these intersections, the part which we need to add. The reviews and everything will be added automatically by the user, so we don't have to worry about it, right? So for the as an admin, so we have to add these banners, and we need to add this title and the descriptions and everything. So we have to add this short description title, short descriptions informations, and the data safety informations and everything, right? So let's go ahead and do that now. And what we can do is yep, so let's go ahead and add one after another all the text fields. So we can simply copy this image URL, image address, and we can directly use it. But if you wish to add the upload options and everything, you need to implement the add options and everything, upload the image directly to the cloud in your Firestore storage and bring the download URL and use it. But in this case, to keep it as simple as that, so we are going to directly use those image URL because we never get the images outside. Right, it's better to copy the image address and use it for our own purpose, and still it's an educational purpose. It's completely free for you, right? We are not going to use it for any other commercial purposes, right? So what I'm going to do is, and I need to bring all the fields. So basically, since everything is going to be just a text field, what I need to do is I need to create a reusable component. So what I'm going to do is over here, components, under the components folder, under the admin folder, we can create a new file called input container.jsx RAFC. Save the changes and export this input container from here. Input container, close this, and let's bring this input container straight away inside your not home, not admin header. We don't need this. User profile don't need it, animation don't need it, need not necessary. Remove all the unnecessary tabs so we can keep it clean and work much faster. Close this. Input container, new apps. Yes, here we go. So I need to bring the input container. All right, so basically this input container, it's going to have what we need to have. We need to we need to bring the label box, and we need to bring the let's see, let's create a label and let's create a placeholder. I think even this label is not necessary. I think so. Label is not necessary since we have the placeholder. That's fine. And on change text, we're just going to call a callback function, and we are going to get that data and we are going to save it in our state. So let's say use state snippets, and let's change this as an input container as the title. So set title, initially it's going to be empty. So here all I'm going to do, it's going to get the data from here, and I'm going to say set title as the data, and the placeholder, I'm just going to app title here. So this is the thing, right? So now I need to create this placeholder and as well as this on change text in the over here. So here, let's bring it over here and have it right after here. So here I'm just going to create a use state value, set value. It's an empty string. So here all we are going to have an input field alone. Input field text is going to be, placeholder is going to be the placeholder, and value, it's going to be the value field, and on change we're going to call a function called handle change, which we haven't created. So const handle change is equals to, we'll get that event, and let's say set value is equals to e.target.value, right? Then we have to change the send that same text to the e dot target dot value. Say the changes. Now we have our input field, and whatever I'm typing, it will be typed over there. And I need to make sure whether I'm getting the data or not. So console dot log title. So let's get to the inspect elements, open the console, clear it, and if whatever I'm typing, and you can see every time whenever I type, I'm getting the data straight away to our state, which means the whatever we are expecting, it's working perfectly as it's supposed to be, right? So inside this new apps, the input container has been loaded and we are getting the value on the state. Now all I have to do is to customize the speed. So for this class name, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say width always you're supposed to be full. So it will take the complete width. So this new app, and the px is not that much. So let's increase the padding. So p4, and here, and height of this field hatch is going to be 12. I think that is pretty much higher. 10, yes, that's more than enough, I think so. Rounded empty, and outline none. Border, it's going to be border, and border, it's going to be secondary, or it's going to be text gray, text. All right, so then we need to bring the background color for this. So bg, of course, bg, it's going to be the third color, third. Okay, so third, it's not necessary, I think so. So let's bring the secondary then. All right, secondary, that looks good. And border, that's look, I'm gonna bring the third as a border color. All right, that looks much good. Shadow medium, perfect. And we are going to increase the height a little bit, like 12. I think this is pretty much good. And we need to add the padding px, it's going to be 4. Perfect. And text size, it's going to be LG, font semi bold. Say the changes, that's pretty much good over here, right? We can delete this title, app title here, and the fonts is going to be font sans, so the user can understand that the whatever the text he's typing much better. Cool. So what next over here? So for this, it's the gap. We need to increase the gap for each and every property. Gap is going to be 2 for the time being. Just like the same way, use state snippet. What's the thing? Second one, company name, company, empty string. And what else we have? The icon, use state snippet, app icon, empty string, use state snippets, reviews, empty string, and use state snippet, and total reviews, empty string, use state snippet, downloads, empty string, use state snippet. What else next? Banner, which means this background banner image, whether it is a video or an audio, whatever it is, we need to load it over there. Then we need to bring the rest of the banners images. So use state snippets, banners, and that is initially it's going to be an array, and I'll show you how to add those things later. And this is, instead of this as a banner, let's change this to cover over here, cover. That looks better. and use state snippet short description. All right, short description is going to be an empty string, right? Okay, so these are the things, and the reviews and everything later we can add those part over there later. Okay, so next what we need to do is we have to map all these fields with our like say we need to map all these fields over here, just like the same way what we did for the input container. Copy it. What's the second one? So we need to bring the set company name here. Then what else? App icon, set app icon image URL here. Then what else? This is reviews, right? App review here, and let's say set app review, set reviews. That means that that means what? That's the total review or what? So here, yeah, that's the app review and the how many total reviews. Okay, so the total reviews. Initially, we are just adding these over here, but these total reviews and everything needs to be calculated manually because it's a really big project. So for the time being, we're just keeping as a field which we are directly trying to enroll it inside, right? Set total reviews and downloads, just like the same way for downloads. Total downloads here, set downloads, right? And we need to add the banners. We added the downloads, so then we need to bring the cover. So let's bring the cover. So cover image URL here, cover image URL here, and we need to bring the banners, right? So basically for banners we need to do something like different in a different way. So at last, this is the, what is this for? Totals, cover image, app review, app image. So at last, this is for the description, short or description here, description here. Save the changes and let's see how exactly it looks like. All right, so it's pretty much looks different. Okay, that's good. So so we have to make the descriptions a little bit bigger, right? So what we can do is, all I'm going to do is to just copy this, and I'm going to, not that, I'm going to copy this. That is going to be a text area field. So instead of keeping it like this, I'm going to create a text area, and columns it's going to be 0. Class name it's going to this, self closing tag, remove it. Value it's going to be the short description, and on change we are going to get that in event, and let's say set short description as e.target.value. Then placeholder it's going to be description here. Save the changes. So that is going to be, yep. So what we can do, we don't need this height, remove the height, that's the problem. Okay, that's too long, so we don't need that 10 rows. We can keep it as, okay, let's keep it 10 rows itself, that's better. Description, app title, totals and everything. All right, so now all we have to do is to implement this description, that the banner field. So basically what we have to do is, so we have to for the banner, it's an array of fields, right? So whenever I click a plus sign, I need to bring an input field, and if I click that, if I wish to delete that, if I click it, I need to remove the same input field, right? So what we are basically trying to do here is, so all I have to say when it comes to banner, right after here, I'm going to say div class width, of course it's going to be full, flex column, item center, justify it in the starting position, right? So here okay, so banners for this, for the we are going to, we need to render the, based on the banners list, we need to render the different input fields over here. So what I'm telling you right now is, it's because, so let's use this chat GPT. So on click, we need to create, on click need to create a new input field and store that data on the same array state and include the remove feature 2 in React. So if you hit the enter, so it gives you the same, what I'm trying to explain you right now. It gives you, it will try and dynamically helps you to add and remove an input fields in React. So if you notice here, this is the input field that we are wish to add based on how many number of fields that we do have over here. Whenever I click add button, that is going to create a new input field, right? Add, that is going to add this field. It's going to create me a new input field, and that is going to help us to render the items every single time, right? So over here, that's exactly what we are trying to do. So this is the thing. So we are trying to create an input list. Basically it's having some ID and a value in it, which exactly what we needed. But what we have to do is, initially we having the banners as an empty array, so that's good. So here, just like the same way, we need to do that. So what I'm going to do is, over here, banners dot map I'm going to use, and I'm going to get that input, render the function, and here I'm going to bring that particular what we have to do is, yeah, so we have to let's bring the same input here. Let's copy this input from there to here. So placeholder, we can simply say banner image URL. Value, it's going to be input dot URI or something, input dot URI. And on handle change, I'm going to call the same method, which I'm going to create it over here, const banner handle change, and this is the function which is going to take two different sets of input, which is basically which is going to have two different sets of parameters. One, that input dot id itself, and two, e dot target dot value, which is basically we'll get it from here, e dot target dot value. So we are passing that input id and we are passing that value, and we are setting that exact same thing as a URI. So we are going to have one more value in it, and we are going to keep it inside that, right? So that will be passed to this method, handle input change. We'll get the id and the value inside here, id and the value inside here. And for the time being, I'm just going to say console.log value. Every time whenever we do that, we are just going to, currently we don't have anything inside the this banner list. So for instance, like if you say id, I'm going to keep it as 1, then URI, I'm going to keep it as an empty string. So now you might see here we have a banner image URL over here, right? So we have one more important thing. So what I'm going to do is, so this is going to be px padding 2, keep it the same way, and I'm going to add some border gray 400, something like this, and border dashed rounded MD. Say this changes, something looks like that. And let's keep this as border as 600. Okay, and gap between each and every product is going to be gap as 2. So if I copy this thing and if I keep it over here, id colon 2 and URI, it's going to be empty string. Now you might notice that we have two different input fields. So this is what we are trying to do over here. Every time whenever I'm trying to insert a new object into that array, it's going to render it over here. So this fields, it's need to be rendered only if the banners dot length is greater than 0, then only we need to render this part. Otherwise we are not supposed to render that. Like it's not like supposed to. Okay, so we need to add the plus sign, right? My bad. So this particular part, it's going to be rendered. Refresh it. We are refreshing the changes and we are not getting anything. Why? Okay, I didn't save it. Save the changes. Now you will get this. So here I need to bring the plus sign. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring far plus. We need to bring that plus sign, and basically that is going to be a div class name width full, and inside here I'm gonna bring flex item center, justified center, cursor pointer. Yep, now here we go. So we have that. So on click we're going to add one more field. What is the field that we are trying to add? We need to add input, handle add input. Let's copy this and let's create that function over here, const add input. So what we are going to do is basically we are going to create a new input, const new input is equals to id. So what we have to do is to id colon banners dot length plus 1. That will be the id. Initially the length will be 0, so length plus 1 means that the first id will be 1, second will be 2, 3, 4, it will see, it still goes on, and the inside that URI field it's going to be an empty string. This is the new input field. So what I have to do is to set banners is equal to, so I have to like what is it, I have to get all the previous array values. So let's say previous state equals to, we have to get all the previous state, then we need to supply our new input inside, right? So this is going to help us to do that. Now what I have to do is whenever I click this, if you see here, if I click this, a new field will be inserted. If you click this, a new field will be inserted. If you click it, a new field. And I need to implement the same way. I need to add one more thing that I can able to delete that options also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this inside a div, and here I'm just going to say far minus, and that is also going to be inside another div. All right, so now we have that, and I'm going to make this class name as width full, flex item center, justify center, and gap between is going to be 2. And for this class name it's going to be width, of course it's going to be 4, height, of course, it's going to be 4, and rounded medium, flex, item center, justify center, bg red 400, and for this class name text primary. Okay, so 4 is a little bit small. Let's give it as 12 then. I think that's too much, so let's keep it 10. All right, so that's pretty much enough. So now whenever I click this, I need to call this particular method handle remove input. So whenever if you're calling to remove it, we need to send the ID along with that. Well, a callback function, I'm going to send the input.id from it. Okay, so now I have to create const, we have to get the ID, then now inside here we have the ID. So using that ID, I'm going to apply the filter. So const, let's say const updated banners equals to banners dot filter, open it. I'm going to get the every single item from it, and I'm trying to match its ID. Item.id should not equals to this specific ID. That will be kept it in the new array will be over here, and we have to supply that to our banners as the updated banners, something like this. So there is no changes. Now if I click remove it, that will be keep on removing it, right? So if I click adding it, it will add the new banner image URL over here, and yeah, it's keep on increasing it. So for this I need to say cursor pointer, and the last, instead of having the cover image URL over there, that is need to be straight away right after here. Yep, it's going to be 4. All right, so that is pretty much good. Now one and only thing that we have to keep it in mind, so if I inspect the elements, so console, okay, so what we have to get the unique key prop. So this doesn't have the key value, so key equals to input.id. all right, input.id. so that will resolve that issue. And now every time if I'm typing something, you can see we are getting the value, but here the value field is not getting updated. So we need to figure it out why exactly it is happening, right? It's the reason is because we are not updating that value to this particular field. That's the reason we are not getting anything over here, but still we are getting the value over there. So what we have to do is whenever the input is being changed over here, so all I have to do is to const updated equals to, I just need to say banners dot map. Okay, map, we need to get that item outside. Okay, so here if the item dot id is equals to the id what we are passing to this function, then I need to update its value. So I need to get the exact item, and I'm going to update the URI object URI with the updated value what I have. If not, I'm just going to return that item alone, and then set banners, it's going to be updated, say the changes. So try to understand here, I'm trying to figure it out what field that we are updating. So based on the ID, we need to figure it out what exact field I'm changing. So I will supply the ID. If that item ID and the ID which I pass to this function, if both are equal, then we need to update the URI value, which is the new value which we are receiving in the parameter called value, right? If that is not, if that ID is not match each other, I just need to return the item alone. So just like the same way. So now if you see here, if I type something, it will be saved, and if I add one more thing, that is also will be saved, and if I remove it, that will be saved, that will be ignored, that will be removed. So if you to do that, let me show you. So here I'm just going to say console.log banners. Every time whenever I add a new input, I'm just going to print the banners, right? See here, if I click, currently the banner is empty. So now if I type save, if I click again, you can see we have one object id URI is going to save. And if I click on one more thing, and if I click add one more time, now we have two different objects ag, so on. We have these two different data in our hand, right? Which is working exactly as we thought, right? So now all I have to do is to what I need to do. All I have to do is to copy this image URL and I supply it to that respective places. Everything will be printed properly as we expected. Then all we have to do is push this data to our server and save it to your collection. That's what we are going to do next.